Well, hello there, and welcome to this week's show. Come on in, get comfy, because today we're going to be talking about understanding the phases of breast cancer with a little help from Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. I know you might be thinking Karen's lost it here, but I haven't, and I promise you I haven't. Um, Let me ask you, how many times have you watched The Wizard of Oz? Because I honestly don't think, I was trying to figure this out. I honestly don't think that I've got enough fingers and toes to count on because I've literally watched it so many times. But recently, it was like I was watching it for the very first time. Now, if you've been in my corner of the internet for for a minute, then you know that before Christmas, 2023, I was in the hospital for 6 days with some really serious complications from a hip replacement surgery. Doesn't mean every time you're going to go through a hip replacement, this is going to happen to you. But it was because of some other risk factors that this ended up happening. But anyway, while I was cocooning, as I like to call it, you might think of it as recovering or healing or chilling. But I love the concept of cocooning, right? Because I've even got like a special blanket that's super soft, that's super snuggly that I want to wrap myself in anytime I've been through surgery. I did this through all of my 7 surgeries related to breast cancer, and this was no exception. So while I was cocooning and recovering, I just said racooning. That could be a new word, right? Cocooning and recovering. I was flipping through the channels on TV like we do, hoping for something easy and comforting to come on, which for me is often Friends or Gilmore Girls or HGTV. I love Fixers Are Fabulous, like the new one they just did in Italy was just wonderful. But I was looking for something comforting, and I came upon The Wizard of Oz, and I was like, yes, perfect. This is something that reminds me of my family because we used to watch it every holiday growing up in the UK. And it was also something that if I fell asleep, it didn't really matter because I knew how it was going to end anyway, right? So, do you do the same thing, right? Do you look for shows that have a certain cadence, a certain rhythm, a certain energy, and even music that promotes ease instead of stress and angst, right? Do you do that too? Or is it, again, just a Karenism, just a me? But here's the thing, surprisingly, because I was on some pretty big medication, I didn't fall asleep. I was, in fact, glued to the storyline. And again, it got me thinking, right? Have you ever seen those? I saw one that just this week where it was a post on social media where they say to close your eyes and squint, just open a little bit, and you see a hidden image within the pose. And the hidden image is there all along, right? But it's when you look at it differently that you actually see it. And I feel like so much of our life after breast cancer and even other challenging times, after losing a loved one, after going through a major house move, end of a relationship, beginning of a new relationship, it's almost like we're looking through different eyes, or certainly different glasses. And like our entire perspective on things has shifted, right? Well, that's what it was like as I was watching The Wizard of Oz this time around. And honestly, I wanted to do this video because I love to share my ahas with you in the hopes that they somehow help you on a rough day or shortcut your pain or even give you hope when maybe you're not feeling so hopeful right now. Okay. And I hope that you find it as revealing as I did. And I hope that it helps you look at this journey with different eyes and find hope where perhaps you're not feeling it right now. So I'm going to take you on a journey through the colorful world of the Wizard of Oz and how it intertwines with our own journey through breast cancer. So if you're ready, grab your popcorn, get cozy. We're going to dive in. I'm going to have a sip of my water here. You're thinking, Karin, that's funny water. It's water with a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Okay. So here we go. So the movie isn't just about Dorothy's adventure to find her way back home. It's actually a mirror reflecting our own quest for inner strength and self-discovery. Right? Dorothy at the beginning, right? She's yearning for something more. If you remember at the beginning of the movie, it's black and white. And she's got this feeling inside of her. She's looking for something more, something beyond the rainbow. Right? And that might echo your own yearning for something more in your life. But what she discovers as she goes on this journey is that something that we can all come to realize is that the answers that we're looking for are not out there, but they're actually within us all along. Remember when Dorothy says, if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard. That backyard is a metaphor for our true selves. Okay? We spend so much time historically searching externally for validation, for happiness, forgetting that the greatest treasure lies within us. We've probably never even learned to look at it that way. And you might be saying or thinking things like, I'll be happy when everybody else is. I used to do the same thing too. Okay? But it's not everybody else's happiness that is going to make you happy, and I can promise you that. So as Dorothy begins to embark on her journey through Oz, we can start to draw some parallels to our own experiences through breast cancer, or at least my experiences and those that I've heard of from clients and from people in my group coaching and support groups and many places that I hear other people's stories. So I'm drawing this on having a lot, probably hundreds of conversations at this point. Now, I don't know how you felt when you were diagnosed, but for me, it certainly felt like I was being whisked up in a tornado, just like Dorothy was, away from Kansas, away from everything that she had ever known, into something very, very different. And I think that for many of us, that day that we hear those spine-chilling words, that day changed my life forever. And I think for many of us, it does too. We can't unhear those words. We can't pretend that it didn't happen. And so naturally, that tornado, that chaos of what it feels like to be diagnosed and have to go through the horrible, torturous waiting period until we know what's really going on. And then what happens is we come to the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road, to me, is like the twists and turns of treatment, right? It's a path. It's a path that we follow, but it's a path that you also know is filled with challenges and growth if we allow that to happen. And just like Dorothy, we're not alone on this journey, right? We encounter people like the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, each searching for something they believe to lack. Sound familiar? Because we all, myself included, have moments of self-doubt, disconnection from our hearts, and fear. We all feel those things, but it's through embracing these vulnerabilities that we actually find our true strength. Now, the Wicked Witch never liked her. Used to hide behind the sofa as a small kid when I would watch it and she'd come on. But she symbolizes our fears, right? The ones that haunt us just at the end of that yellow brick road, just as we're wanting to get back to life. The Wicked Witch symbolizes those fears. The fear of getting sick again, the fear of not being able to stick to the habits that we know that we need to do to stay healthy, like eating better and moving our body and managing our stress, all of those things. But we've never been able maybe to stick to them in the past. And so we're scared. We're scared that we're not going to be able to do that so that we can stay healthy. And maybe this also, there's so many fears. It's so layered and so stacked. The fear of missing out on a bright future or losing a job or a relationship. Fear can be overwhelming. Just like that fear that I felt as a kid hiding behind the sofa. It's like you want to hide. We want to pretend that it's not there, like it's not happening. And yet this fear is so overwhelming. And I think that if we look at the movie, there's so many elements, right? There's the flying monkeys, the apples, the poison apples, the forest, the witch, like all of these things, I think, for me, signify all of these different elements of fear and all of the different ways that they can show up. But what I want you to know, and this is somewhere where I see so many people getting stuck, and I'm hoping that you're not one of them. If you are, I really invite you to reach out because I want to get you unstuck. But if we're not careful, we can get stuck here at the end of that road with the witch, with the forest, with the apples, with the flying monkeys. We can get stuck here for weeks, for months, and even years, not realizing that there's a way out. Where that fear doesn't have to be so big, taking over every element of your day, of your mind, of your thoughts, of your everything you do. So we have to be mindful that we don't get stuck in that place. And it's easy to do. And if you're there, I don't want you to beat yourself up because likely you didn't know that it could be different. There's very little support from medical teams, from professionals at this point in time. That's why I shifted my coaching practice specifically to support you at the end of that yellow brick road where that fear is kicking in and you're there saying, what am I supposed to do now? Here's the thing. And this is where you get to be really hopeful. Just like Dorothy, we have the power to confront and conquer these fears. Because wouldn't it be awesome if we could watch that fear melt away? Like the Wicked Witch at the beginning of the movie where the house lands on her and she's like melting away. Wouldn't that be awesome? And then there's Glinda, the Good Witch. And she actually represents our higher selves, right? She's there guiding us if we're willing to listen. That's important if we're willing to listen because we all have an inner guide. But very often, and it's not your fault, society has taught us this, we don't listen because we've never really learned how. And that inner guide will help us shape our lives. And then at the very end of the movie, right, as the credits roll, oh, hang on a minute, let me go back here because I missed a really important place. Sorry about that. What does Glinda say to Dorothy? All you need to do is click your heels together and repeat after me, there's no place like home. And I feel like between the Wicked Witch and us wanting to click our heels together and just magically get back to life before cancer, which is a mistake that I see so many people making. Because we can't go back. Just like Dorothy, she didn't go back to her old black and white Kansas. She went forward into something that was full color. And we can create that too in our life. So, yes, I agree with this element of saying there's no place like home, there's no place like home. But what if home? What if home isn't a location? What if home isn't a moment in time? But home is feeling like you belong to you, feeling safe in your own body, in your own mind, in your own existence, feeling like you fit in. Because ultimately, I think that's what we all want to feel. And we can do that. We can do that. Now, I'm not saying that it's easy or that you can just say it and do it, but it's a worthwhile journey. And the other thing that is really important, if we think about what would have happened to Dorothy at the end of the movie if Glinda hadn't told her what to do, right? She said, you've had the power all along, but this is what you need to do. This is why we need guidance from somebody that has walked the path that we have, the journey that we have. The scenery might have been a bit different, but it's important. It's something I hear all the time from members in my group coaching program. That element of knowing that you're not alone, that other people have struggled. Again, the scenery on our journey is different, but we've all walked a path that's traumatic. And it's important that we get that human connection and that guidance from somebody that has walked that path so that we can start to feel safe and at home again in our body and reconnect with who we really are. And you may never have learned that. You may never have learned that. So before I leave you today, I'm going to ask you that question again, give you some food for thought. If you're like me and you've seen this movie a time or two, you're already familiar with the ending, right? Where Dorothy, after learning from the good witch Glinda, said, you had the power all along, my dear. She clicks her red heels together, repeating, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. And as I said before, I invite you to imagine what would have happened to Dorothy if she hadn't trusted Glinda with what to do and how to do it to get back home. The ending would have been just the same, right? It wouldn't have ended the same way. So think about that. Do you need somebody to help you navigate the roller coaster of what is life after breast cancer? You don't need to go it alone because you've got somebody that can help guide you. And the doors to my flagship and completely heart-centered group coaching program, Thrivership School with no homework, no grades, and no detention, so don't worry, open soon for our next 6-month class. And I'm looking right now for the next 10 women that I can help guide step by step along that path, who want more than anything to feel safe and at home in their body and mind again. I'm wondering if you'll be one of them. And if you would like more information, if you would like to talk about it, just drop a me in the comments and I'll reach out to you. Okay, I like to keep it simple, easy peasy. But I guarantee you that you're never going to watch The Wizard of Oz the same again. Now that you realize that there are, and I think that there are many hidden meanings in this movie, I really do. And I'm not dismissing any of those, but this resonated for me as something very similar to our breast cancer journey. So I'm also curious. Let me know where you are in your journey. And just, choose an emoji to let me know. Are you thinking, but maybe you haven't been diagnosed with breast cancer and you're thinking, is there more to my life or is this it? Drop a rainbow emoji. If you've just been diagnosed, drop a tornado emoji. If you're on the road, drop a brick emoji for the yellow brick road. And if you are in this place with the witch and you want to click your heels together, drop me a witch and a red shoe emoji, 2 of them. Let me know where you are so that I can give you some tools to help support you. Okay. I hope that this has been helpful in understanding that there is a path and there's a way out, and you don't have to get stuck and stick in this place where the witch and the forest and the angry apples and the flying monkeys are all feeling like they're attacking you all the time, because you don't. You get to click your red heels together, know exactly what to do, and start looking at life in multicolor, right? With a different perspective. Start to find some joy, some excitement, some hope, some possibility in just 6 months. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me and watching today. My name is Karin Del Maestro. You can find me hanging out in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. And I want to thank you for joining me and watching today. Bye for now. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next week.